All right, so let's begin with a little connecting to the rhythm of life. The purpose of why we do this work, hand on heart. Take a breath. And the topic tonight is about products, services, and branding. It's going to be a great opportunity to think big tonight. Think about for a minute how you have defined your brand. And how are you consistent with that message? And what products have you ever dreamed of creating? You know, we've all done that, right? You've been like, I should make this, or I should write a book about that. Anybody know what I'm talking about? There needs to be one of these. And then you're like stuck because who the heck knows how to create that, right? So tonight, our topic has to do with what I think are the two keys to success in this work. This work being this kind of self-generating, self-employed, so often self-employed work regarding expressive arts, drumming. We have people in our group that are sex therapists. We have a kind of a really nice variety of interdisciplinary team here, health rhythms facilitators, drum circle facilitators, expressive arts therapists, and music medicine facilitators. So this is the two keys, okay? The two keys, Remo Belli taught me this so strongly. The two keys are products and services. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows the difference, but products are things that are sold or passive income. I don't have to recreate it. There's the book, it's right there. Services are things that I deliver. That's my time. So when you think about it, a service can become a product. So you're doing a body percussion game, and the next thing you know, you create Body Beat. This game I created, the first product I ever created, Body Beat. So that came out of doing a service, which was Body Percussion Drum Circle, and seeing the need. Geez, I can't believe nobody's thought of this. If you've ever had that sentence come out of your mouth, you know you're probably destined to make something. Why didn't anybody think of this? Right? Those are the best products that kind of come from a need or something that's already happening in the marketplace, and you just catch it and produce it and boom, it's out there. And the opposite happens as well. You can take a product. Now, many people have done this. A woman named Cindy took the Healing Drum Kit that I created. She made a workshop out of it that she sold in her community in Texas, in Houston. So she created a service from my product. Brilliant idea, right? So she already had the product. She had people enroll in the course. She included the cost of the drum kit. She included decorating the drum kit. They had a one-day workshop, and she sold that service. So is this all making sense to everybody? Okay, good. Because we're going to do an interactive, of course, activity. But we're going to take a look at how have you talk with your partner about your branding, your products and services. So the slogan really is that these are complementary. And what I thought we would do first of all is if you would put down on the chat bar, for those of you that are in the video call, name of your company or business, and I'll put this in the directions. 1, name of company, business, or your personal name. Doesn't matter what you use. One sentence to describe your brand. These can just be words, brainstorm keywords. My brand in Upbeat Drum Circles is positive, upbeat drum circles, positive, uplifting, and credibility and wellness. So I really, really talk up my credentials. I really talk up wellness, spirituality, and health, and drum circles. So that's really my brand. Music medicine came in as a new add-on to my work, beyond drums into music. So it's a sub-brand. It's like under the topic of music, of Upbeat Drum Circles. Okay. Thanks, Glenn. I know that's not the name of your company or your brand description, but it would be a very funny one. Okay. So Alicia, just add rhythm, energy, inspiration, connection, and joy. Great. And drumming. You guys can guess that. I was very excited that I was just teaching at a retreat and I got to refer a client to Alicia. Isn't that great? So she's got a gig out of some people that I met at my gig, which I love. And I want you to know all of you are on my referral list. And so, Brad, I bring the joy of recreational music making to fill in the blank. Exactly, right, Brad? Yeah, Nancy, the Fear of Singing Breakthrough Program. So this is great. Discover your inner singer, or from fear to joy, or, okay, whenever you have these ors, Nancy, that's a little brand concern, to be honest. So we'll have to look at that with Nancy. Let's see. Learn to singing if you can't catch it. Right. But all of those, Nancy, could be under your umbrella, the Fear of Singing Breakthrough Program, right? So have an umbrella, have things that go under it. That's fine. Upbeat Drum Circles is my umbrella brand. Underneath that, I might have Change Your Life Through Rhythm, Healing Drum Kit. Does that make sense? Yes, you have different ways you're spinning it, but your brand should never change. Nike, just do it. We all get it. Creative soul care. Expressive arts that nourish your soul. Thank you, Rebecca. Very clean. Creative soul care. Nice. The Genesis frequency, creating prosperity with the rhythm of life. Wow. I don't even know what is the Genesis frequency. I'm very curious. Let me unmute you. Can you tell us what that means?
Well, it's a whole brand and it's a whole company, and there's products, books, a 17 series video product in there, and I don't want to share too much about it, but it'll launch with a bunch of other things. So it's going down a different track rather than a healing drum. We're taking the drum and the drum circle and using it as a form of meditation, starting with the heartbeat and creating through dream building within the drum circle.
Nice.
So, yeah. So there's more to it, but I just try to, I'm Mr. Verbosity. So I was trying to use as few words as I could right there. So.
That's great. I just was curious. So the Genesis frequency is your name.
Well, that's one of the names underneath my companies. It's a trademark, but it did pique your curiosity. So
yeah,
it intended to do that. Thank you.
Cool. What's the name of the umbrella company?
Success Ocean International.
Okay, Success Ocean International. Great brand. Tish, exactly. Expressive Arts San Diego. Make art that can change your life. That's a lovely tagline. Yes, Nancy says yes. Okay, Harmony Music Therapy, growth and empowerment, experience harmony, growth with music. Isn't this fun, you guys, to see everybody's things? Sustaining rhythms. Oh, I love that. Facilitating rhythms to sustain community health and well-being. Nice. He's got two buzzwords in there, sustain and rhythms. So that's great. All right, so you guys have got the idea of today's call, because this is the focus of today's call, is the branding. Now, before we dive into this, I want to share my screen with a couple of thoughts. First of all, if you have not sent me your bio, please do so. I want to make it mandatory that everybody sends me their bio. I am having a lot of fun rewriting you guys' bios and really making them shine. So please send your bio. If you haven't done so yet, I really want that to be a gift that I give to everybody in the mentoring group. So I want you all to really experience how critical it is to brighten up your bio and all the places you use that bio, okay? And the second quick announcement that I want to share my screen here. Yeah. All right. How many of you have heard of Eventbrite? Anybody here using Eventbrite? So I was Googling around. I use Eventbrite a lot. It's very easy to use. They take 3% and a processing fee. And I noticed that there's more and more people using Eventbrite to sell drum circle tickets. Not all of you are in drum circle work, but in terms of promoting workshops, Eventbrite is very nice because it's a searchable program. So I'm in Colorado and Boulder, and Eventbrite knows where I am, gives me recommendations for events that I might enjoy. So check out Eventbrite. I'll show you a course that I just started creating, and this is a product. I know it's kind of confusing, but this is a product, even though it sounds like a service, but that's how I can change something that is a product, that is a program, I can change it into a service. Hold on, let me share it again. Come on, there it is. All right, so I just took an idea I had for a 7-day workshop, and I turned it into a morning practice program on Eventbrite. Eventbrite asks me the ticket price, give a picture of me, describe my program, yada, yada, yada. Tags, I better improve that. So far, other than music, I can improve the tags. And the location online, and 7 recorded calls. So I'm going to be launching this in the next couple of days. And you can do all kinds of things with Eventbrite. It's the quickest thing. I think I created this after I had the curriculum. Okay, I created this course in about 30 minutes. It only lets you use one picture, a little downside to Eventbrite, but I could put a link to a YouTube video in here. But I'm really finding this very valuable. And I think it's interesting that I found other people's drum circles on Eventbrite. So hi, Grace, and hi, Mary. The question for the chat bar is the name of your company and a few words or a sentence about your brand, because we're talking about branding, products, and services today. So let's take a look at our handout. And when you think about this idea of products and services, you can imagine how these can go both ways, which I was just explaining. Now, that program I'm creating on Eventbrite, that is a service. Why? Because I'm live doing it. It is my time. If that was an online course, a static course, self-study course, that would be a product. So just to make sure everybody gets products and services. Now check out how much they intermingle. Okay, so here's the Healing Drum Kit. I create this product with Sounds True. Then I created the Healing Drum Kit 1-day workshop. So now I have taken a product and turned it into a workshop. Same thing, you could take a workshop. Maybe you have a little signature workshop you do. Let's take Nancy's. I think it's a great brand. Sorry, it's not in front of me at this moment. Nancy, can you say it again?
Say it again. Fear of Singing Breakthrough Program.
Okay, so the Fear of Singing Breakthroughs program. Let's say she creates a workbook. These days, you don't have to knock on the doors of publishers anymore. You just create your workbook and you start selling it at your classes. Right? So now she's turned her workshop into Saving Grace Rhythms. What a great name, Grace. Excuse me for that interruption, but I was like, wow, great name. But what a great thing. If you already have a program, somebody takes a workshop and you say, I also have the booklet available, the workbook, that's always popular. For an additional $9.95, you can take home the workbook. It has the practices I taught today in a very organized format with audio downloads. Goodbye, right? So now she doubled her income. Maybe not double, depending on what they paid for the workshop, but she's increased her income. The reason products and services are so important, you guys, is because one or the other can dry up. There was a time economically when nobody was booking speakers, drum circle facilitators. It was a very dry time for services, and I was grateful I had products. Kind of sustained me through that good couple of years of economic problems. So that is another positive direction if you've ever thought of a product. I hope some of you have, because now is your time to create it. There's never been a better time to create a product, simply because you can e-publish it. You can put it out on Fiverr and ask for somebody to graphic design it and get bids from all over the world. It's incredible. So I'll post those tips as well, but there's never been a better time to create a product. So if you've ever thought about it, dreamed about it, this is your time. Okay. But all of this comes back to your brand. So another popular thing, somebody I was coaching created some rhythm audio play-along tracks, and he sold that as a download card to every drum circle he did. Now think about that as an income generating idea, right? Everybody in the back, I've got the download cards, $9.95, keep the music alive in your life. How do you sell things like that? Well, you get the Square reader, put it in your phone, and swipe credit cards. It's that easy. If you're selling somebody else's material, you do need a resale license if you're going to buy wholesale and resell it. But all of that is considered a more passive income in that I don't have to play the audio downloads every time. So let's take a minute to reflect on what service do you have that could become a product, or what product could become a service, maybe not even necessarily created by you. Maybe it's something that's created by somebody who's well known in the field that you work in, and you have an idea how to convert that into another project. So there's a woman I coached who created a eight chakras workshop. So she did an 8-series workshop using drumming to go drumming through the chakras, and she based it on Glenn Velez's audio CD. Brilliant. There's lots of people teaching lots of material from other sources. Or is there a product you have thought of? You've said, okay, I'm looking at this world that I'm in, and I hear over and over people saying, I need this. I just came from visiting a friend who's building a hiker's meditation chair that she's like in a little wood shop building this, because she said, I'm so sick of hearing people who go out on hikes in Zion saying they don't have any place to meditate. So when it's a complaint and you turn it into a product, that's gold. So let's just take a minute and see if anybody would like to share a product idea, or how you could turn a service into a product. Yes. So Nancy has one. I could probably create separate short books or ebooks out of some of the chapters. Great. So here's a tip, Nancy. There she is, unmute. So here's a tip. When you do that, make one of them available as a free sample, or take some of the content into a blog. Because it's all, here's what it is. If you've ever been grocery shopping and you didn't have coffee cake on your list and they were sampling it and you bought it, then you know the power of free samples. So in product development today, in this day and age, we want to give people a free sample, right? We want them to taste it. That's why I'm doing a free webinar in a couple weeks on business tips, because we want people to taste it before they buy it. It's the same thing. Know, like, and trust. Exactly. What is it? I want to know it. I want to like it. And I'm not only going to know that, but I taste it. So anyway, that's a great idea, Nancy. Congratulations. So that's a passive income stream for you, right?
Yeah.
And all these times, like, it's Tish. Okay, Scribble Art. Oh, a how-to guide and coloring book. Okay, tell us about that.
It's a book, how to scribble, that everybody can scribble. It's an art form that nobody could say, I don't know how to scribble. I'm so tired of people saying, oh, I'm not creative. Oh, I don't have to know how to do that. So I went to the lowest art form that I could imagine, and scribbling can also be with music, with words, with other forms of art rather than just visual art. But this one focuses on visual art.
Can you hold it up to the camera?
And yes, I self-published it.
And what do you sell it for?
I sell it in person. I sell it for $10, includes tax. I think on Amazon it's $9.44 or some number that I came up with that seemed good.
Well, give her some love. I think that's awesome that you can hold up a book that you self, which is exactly what we're talking about today, that you created, that we all cannot no longer sit and complain about something. You heard her say it. I was sick of people saying, I can't do it. So brilliant. That is a great idea of turning that into. Now, here's my example. She could take that book and create the scribble art workshop. Make sense? Which she's doing apparently. She's nodding her head. Scribble, the art of freeing your artistic, ability. I could see that. Anybody else product or a dream of a product, a clear vision, or you started one, or you have a notebook with the word on it. I know how this is. And while I'm asking you to think about that, I'm going to grab a copy of Body Beat in case you're not sure what it looks like. When we first created this game, I just created a free list of 6 tips to rhythmify your life. Nice. It could definitely become a book. I'm sick of people saying they have no rhythm. Exactly. That would be a really nice YouTube clip too. 6 tips to rhythmify. Rhythmify is fun. Rhythmify your life. 6 tips. Congratulations. So she's using her product as a giveaway for people who opt in or sign up to her email list. But there's so much she can do with that. That could be the next 6 email campaigns. See how content gets repopulated, you guys? Once you get an idea, you start to, I could make that the theme of the next newsletter is tip number 1, how to live within the rhythm. 6 tip giveaways. Great. Make sure that your giveaways are on a branded page, and you always have your, a soul journal sheets on Etsy. Okay, I really want to hear about that. That's a creative idea. Tell us about that, Rebecca. I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you? It says on my screen that you're unmuted, but I don't hear you. Oh, shoot. Okay, try to problem solve that over there, okay? Because you're not muted. Let me unmute you again. Beats me what's going on over there. Yeah, beats her too. Well, sorry, but you can tell us about, post the Etsy link if you would. Soul Journal sheets, which she sells. That's a great idea. And I imagine that the Soul Journal is another product, and the Soul Journal training. So the quick story is, when I saw that nobody had made something like this, I was shocked. I came up with a good name, Body Beat. Good name, very important. When it began, I was sitting at my computer, printing every page, taking it to Kinko's, laminating them, tying them with a bow, and selling them for $19.95 at drum circle conferences, because it cost me $19.95 to produce the thing, printing them color, copying them. So what happened was, I went to Michael's, true story. I got all the little flashcards. I wrote down the name of the company that was producing the flashcards, and I cold called them. I just called them up out of nowhere, and I just said, how do I produce an idea I have? And they, of course, said, we don't do that. But you guys know from coaching with me and mentoring with me that when we follow our bliss, we put ourselves on the path of luck. And so I basically informed them, but this is a product for music therapy. This is to help people heal, help children, help school groups. Okay, we'll listen to your idea. So they ended up being able to convince the director of these productions at Michael's chains of stores to take me on as a side client, moonlighting client. And he took my product and had it produced. I had to buy 2,000 copies of it. But now I have them, and they're laminated cards and they look great. And over time, and they're sold for $19.95. And over time, you know, they hold up because they're made by a very reliable company. So it was a lot of work. That took 6 months. And that's why I put on your handout. Services are quicker. I came up with 7 days of rhythm activation, posted it. Products are a slower journey, but then you have this passive income. The next time I teach health rhythms, I'll be selling these. I sell these online. I sell them at conferences. So they add a lot of income to your life. And that also, what we haven't really talked about is how it brands us, right? It brands us. I am now the author of the 6 tips for freeing your voice, right? I'm the author of this, or I am a recording artist. If I make some, show us please. I don't know what you mean. Okay, JC, I just created a whole section on my website with videos and resources. Good. That's great. We'll talk about that. That's a great question you asked. Yeah. Okay. My book the cards didn't take time to write because there's no content. They're just cards. I basically just wrote the body percussion rhythms, and then I consulted with a percussionist and found the best patterns. Like I found out, sorry, I'm going to unmute you because I don't know what you're trying to ask me. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to see what they look like.
Oh, sure. But I had to then test market them. Okay. I focus group tested them. I don't know if you did that, Rebecca, but all of you who are making products and writing tip sheets, focus group them all. Hugely important. In focus grouping, I found out that the cards I was creating, the people couldn't do more than 2 different sounds at once in a pattern. I mean, I started with clap, snap, snap, tap, 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 or whatever, and I just right away learned 2 was the max. So I focus group tested it. They look like this. And then I actually hired a drummer who I pay a percentage of the sales to write this leaders grid so that you could see what each color card was playing and to make sure that the rhythms lined up. Sometimes you have to invest in experts. I wanted to invest in somebody who could really take a look at that. And then I had to invest in a designer, right, to make all these nice little cards that come with it and our graphic and all of that. So all of that doesn't pay off in the front end. It pays off in the back end. And once you guys are asking about how to get the information out there, you've made something that's useful for people. How do you sell it? That's a really big question. Let me get to that at the end. Is there anybody else who has a product that they've thought about or dreamt about or an idea? And also your services are a product because you want to brand the name of them. So I'm curious what Brad uses when he sells a program. What name do you use for the program?
I don't really sell my program. I just I do cold calling initially to places that I think would be agreeable to having me come. But I really stopped looking for work a couple of years ago. So I'm a little out of practice. I'm trying to actually dial things back a little bit. So, but when I initially started calling, I'm sorry, I'm trying to adjust things on the fly here. So I've got a new camera. It's not exactly cooperating. Okay. So when I started calling places, I just try to get to the right person, which was more of that was probably the initial challenge. And then once you get to the right person and then you tell them what you do, you can know pretty much in about 30 seconds whether you have somebody worth pursuing or not. And I would have to say 95% of them are like very excited about having someone like me or any of the other Health Rhythms facilitators come in with all of our stuff and lead the residents through a program that's good for everybody. So, you know, as I'm listening to the conversation here, I'm realizing I don't really have a brand.
Right.
I'm kind of my brand. When people see me, they kind of, especially after repeated times at a community, they know pretty much that they're going to get someone who's going to be there on time and look presentable and do the right job. But I don't have a brand. I don't really have a product I sell. And that's why I love Health Rhythms, because I don't have to sell it. It sells itself.
Well, but that's your brand, I would argue.
I think so too. Yeah.
Health Rhythms and that's nice when you've come through a corporate training group like that program, or World
Right.
Music Drumming, or, you know, these other programs. That is your selling point. And so you can just reference your website of Remo, which is great.
I always do. And in fact, I was with a group the other day and it was an assisted living, and one of the gentlemen in the group was a retired psychologist. And he said, "Why do you do what you do?" And I said, "I got to talk to you." And so I've got a package of you know, the research abstracts that you can get from Remo that will go to him, because he's obviously very much interested in why it works and why we do what we do. So yeah, I mean, that is my brand, but I don't feel like I have a brand. I just feel like I show up and do what I'm supposed to do. I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
But you are your brand, and Health Rhythms is your umbrella. That's how that's working for you. And if you wanted to make a product, you could. If you thought about in all the places that you serve, and if you're starting to feel like I have to cut back, that's a call to action for a product, right? It's like, what can I do to help people, whether it's making a play along track or whatever it is that could try to help, or you might take on an assistant, you know, and have them doing some places and you get a cut. I mean, that's another nice way to branch. We'll talk another session about branching, pruning, and trunking. That's another topic. But I want to go back to seeing Grace's shakers for sure. Definitely got to see that. Go ahead, show us.
Okay, so I have found that people don't always have drums, but I can take, I don't know if you can really see them. They all have little fingers on them. And I just took crushed quartz, and so each of them have a funny little face. And so I go and I did emoji one. So wherever I go, they either call me the drum girl or the shaker lady. So, and I've taken them into residences and places like that. So when I go, they get my eggs, or I teach them how. I teach teachers how to make them from the products that I've just created them with. They're all dollar store products. And so now I've been going to teachers conferences. They've called me in so that I come and I teach them basic rhythm patterns and how to use those in their classroom with their students, with their shakers or other recycling materials. Like we make, I don't know, we just make rhythm percussion instruments. You just need sticks and cans, really, right? Or something that will shake. But these are fun because they have faces and they have little things. So they really like that. Also, the last time you guys asked me what twinkle lights were, these are my drum twinkle lights. So I have 6 sets, and they will do different things. They will blink or fade out, or they do different things depending on where you set them. So, and I have 6 sets, and I sort of circle them around as I need them, and it just creates an atmosphere of fun, and I find it very calming and very, I don't know, I hang them up around my house too. But I just love them. They're little drums. I don't know if you can tell.
Everybody wants to know where to buy them.
Home Depot is where I got them. I don't know if that's in the States or wherever you guys are from, but the Home Depot is where I got them in Canada.
So you're not selling them?
No.
You should. What about the shakers? Do you sell the shakers?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what's the price point for that whole box of shakers?
You know what? I don't think I've ever, I end up giving them away. So I've never actually priced them out, but I would. I'm going to have to think about it because it takes a lot of time, but I do it in my spare time. So if I'm like watching a movie or whatever, I've always got my hands going, making shakers or making mallets.
Let's give her some love. That was a really fun, like, boost of happiness that you just pulled off. Let me just coach you one thing about this, Grace, because Grace has got a great example, right? She's like bringing them to a workshop. So one idea is that you put that in the price of the workshop, right? I do that. I pitch the workshop and then it says educational materials, additional X price. Okay, but price them out. Get yourself a retail price. What is that? 12 eggs. Now, there's 2 of each face, right? Or something like that. In other words, there's like 6 faces. Who knows? I'm telling you, Grace, there's your next activity. That's where you take a product and make a service. I'm sure some of the expressive arts therapy people were thinking what I'm going to say, which is then you have a PDF for teachers on how you use those shakers in expressing emotions, right? So that has to be written up for people like a lesson plan. That's lots of room for emotional exploration. Exactly. People in our community want to buy them from you. So please, when you get them, and this is what I'm telling you guys, it takes time. Get used to it. Look at Tish's book. I'm sure that took time. Get used to this time issue. When you start to make a product, it's a slower journey. Worth it. Just get you used to that sort of, it's going to slow down. And then I can create that. So I would add on some kind of like Body Beat. I shot a video of a group playing Body Beat. It has like 12,000 hits now because everybody wants to learn how to do it, and they can steal the rhythms if they want, but most likely they'll buy the kit, they'll buy the cards, whatever, a percentage will take it. But so I think you've got a great couple products, and you could definitely make a service out of that product, and you could definitely price point that and get it up on the internet. Etsy is a place to sell things. Amazon, you can sell it. I don't know if you guys have other suggestions of platforms where to make things available. Not to mention the how-to guide of how she makes them. She's telling people that, but that's we're in the knowledge era, and that's worth value to people. People will pay for that. Okay. Well, that was exciting. So let me finish up the handout talking points over here, and then I want to get you in pairs to work on some stuff. Okay, yes. Another important point is your sales funnel. And so you guys have been mentioning, so I make a product, how do I get it out there? Here's Grace with her shakers, here's Rebecca with her soul journals, here's Tish with her, so one way is in front of live audiences. The second way is on a website, and you promote it with things like the free PDF of how to use it, right? If your audience is teachers, they're value added is how do I use this? Brad, you're selling to activity directors. What's a value added thing for them? So thinking about those things, you also are always thinking to yourself, do I self-publish or do I pitch this to a publisher? These days, self-publishing may much bigger margins usually, but it doesn't hurt to try knocking on some doors, especially Tish, who already has this beautiful book. If she can wholesale it. So I just did this, Tish. I just spent, 2 hours. I dedicated 2 hours to looking up other catalogs that would sell Body Beat. Music in Motion and West Music now carry Body Beat. Oh, and Groff Music in Illinois. I just Googled like the best places. Empire Music said no, don't take it personally, but I just increased my wholesale sales. What is wholesale? If this retails at $19.95, wholesale is $9.95. So so that's a good margin for me that I've built in. So that way I'm getting in catalogs. Yay. So then they're buying, I tell them you've got to buy a minimum of 10, and they're, they come in about 4 orders a year from each company. I just sold an additional 80 copies, half the price I would make, but now there's a value to that. How many people get those catalogs? Millions of teachers, okay, you guys? Millions. So if some percentage of those teachers see Body Beat, Google me, come to a training, that's how that happens. My products are marketing for my brand. That's something for you to think about, and just get used to the fact that it's hard work. This is not the fun of coming up with a new workshop. Services, when you name it, it's born. That's why I was asking Brad, what's your program called? And he's going to call it Health Rhythms. You could name it anything you want, make it a good name. Health Rhythms was a great name. I used to call my diversity training D Village, which was a great name. Here's the do's and don'ts. Great names are things like the motivational non-speaker. I saw this guy using that. Beats Work. That was a company I used to work for. Boom Whackers. Wasn't that a great name? Risky, but it really worked in the marketplace. So one example of what not to do and why I'm emphasizing focus group testing is, here's Body Beat, 32 cards. I asked many, many teachers how many to put in the deck. I focus group tested it on people. That's when I learned they couldn't do three sounds at once. Numerous product testing goes into this. So you might have heard of the SCAT cards, similar idea, but they're not the same. They're laminated. They don't look as valuable. They're the same price point as mine. But I thought it was interesting that they were all different scats, so like doodly shoobity bop or whatever. I used them. I bought a set, but it never had the traction that Body Beat had, because I think if he had focus group tested it, he would have found it's chaotic. You can't give everybody a different sound. You should have done like 4 have the same, and something that could have had a little more regularity to it. But it's still valuable. It's just, my point is, when I compare those two in terms of their ability to sell in the marketplace, the time I spent, and it was slow going and boring, and I had to recruit people for the focus group testing and pay them or give them gifts, but it really paid off. Recently, I did a Zoom focus group test. So I invited 10 people on Zoom to work with me on a workshop idea. And that really was valuable to me. And in exchange, I gave them all a free gift, which was a download card for Drumming Up Spirit. So there's a lot of ways that these days with Zoom and with the internet that you can focus group things. Lastly, cross-selling and upselling. So a couple of you have said, how do I sell them, right? Here's the thing. Everything comes down to the law of marketing, which is the hook. So when do I sell Body Beat? I sell it in August because it's back to school. And I'm selling teachers, right? So when is Soul Care Journal? I don't know, man, that's a good question. Probably January, because I think that's when people are making resolutions. That'd be one obvious thought I have. When is Scribble good? Back to school for art teachers, I'm thinking. It might be Christmas, holidays. I think that's a fun holiday gift. So then you start to see how to pitch it. I mean, clearly Grace's lights are kind of holiday looking, right? The perfect gift for the drummer in the family. So these are the ways we want to be thinking. We have to be thinking about, when is Free Your Voice? I keep calling it that, but I know it's not called that. I'm sorry. Say the name again. Breakthrough.
It's a Fear of Singing Breakthrough program.
Yeah, which is a great name because she takes you from fear of singing to breakthrough. When is that needed?
And I guess before the holidays is nice because of holiday singing, but it's really pretty much all year. I don't think there's a real special time.
I agree with Alicia. I think it's New Year's resolution.
Oh, actually, true. I had thought, yes, right.
Okay. When do we need egg shakers? All the time. So think about Easter. Exactly. That's a great thought. Easter eggs. I didn't think of that. Perfect. And right now, exactly. Why you need these shakers now. That's a great marketing line. So think about your product and name your service. Okay. So even if it's Health Rhythms, you have named it. Whatever the name is, coming up with that name is really critical for your branding. And if you don't have a name, and we break into partners right now, you can brainstorm with another person. I still think Health Rhythms with Brad, or, you know, something that has to do with your niche might be good to add to that for you to think about, because you're really doing well, Brad. And that seems like a good time to kind of claim that territory for you. Something to think about. All right. So you're going to have 5 minutes. No, you can have 7 minutes. I'm going to partner everybody up. First, I'm going to unmute you all. What I'm most concerned about is making sure that we can hear everyone. Unmute all. All right, let me make sure I can hear. Who was it? Rebecca. Rebecca, can you talk?
Can you hear me now?
Oh!
Yay!
Do you sell those sheets on Etsy?
Yes.
Okay. And how does that do for you?
Well, I've sold a few. I have it in different ways. I have it as a kit where it includes art paperwork as well as some pens. And then I have it where it's just the sheets, and you can get them in different quantities. And then I have it as a download. So if they don't want the paper, but they want it as a download. So there's various forms. Yeah.
Okay, so you.
And what's nice is that they can incorporate, it's really just about focusing on 3 things that you would write because everyone's busy, and then a really small place if they want to do some artwork, they can. Almost like makes me think of the scribble, a doodle area is what it's called, but then the actual paper is to be glued on the back so that it becomes almost like this written as well as visual journal, and it's an all-in-one.
See, she's really describing the benefits of her product just now. That was very good.
Thank you.
Applause, applause, applause. That was great. So you can be thinking about when you sell that and how you sell that and how you market that and who's your audience. These are basic questions. A lot of times we produce a product and we think we're done because we're exhausted from producing it, and then the work begins, right? Marketing, selling. Okay, so take 7 minutes, share with your partner. The question is for you to share with your partner, tell your partner your brand and the name of your services and the name of your product. And if you don't know yet, brainstorm with them or ask them other questions that are pertinent to today's topic. We're going to be in 5 rooms. We have 10 people. Here you go. I'll let you know when time is up. Have fun.
Occasionally I go to drum circles and people, of course I bring everything. So if they don't have anything, sometimes I'm actually asked if I would sell my own equipment, which I won't. But so how do you approach reselling? Because I really love doing a lot of business. I love doing business with Western music.
Right. I'm going to unmute everybody. So
Okay.
just answer that. Mute all. Mute all.
Yeah, and what is the responsibility for someone who's reselling equipment like that?
Okay, so that's a great question, and that's an income generating idea, and it's a product, and you didn't have to build it. So what's involved is contacting Remo and getting a resale license, and that's all. And most resale companies have a certain opening number of buy-in price. But because you live in Hollywood or near Hollywood, you could really benefit yourself by just make an appointment, go up to Mike Domeno where they sell drums, old drums, and see if you couldn't get in that pipeline. That'd be my thought. But what you first need is a resale license, which I don't think costs much. I think it's a matter of paperwork. You need a DBA. You need to be able to prove that you have a company, and then you can get a resale license. So great question. And then it's really important. One thing I've learned about that selling stuff is limit your choices to people. These are my 4 things that I recommend. You might also call West Music. They have been known to create sell pages for facilitators, and then you get a percentage and you can send them to West with your page of recommended instruments. My friend Bob Bloom did that because he was in front of so many schools, and every school said, where do I get the drums? And finally he called Wes and he created the Bob Bloom school recommended drum kit. Yeah. Then can he put his information on them? Yes, of course. He can't. I mean, if he's going to sell a Remo drum, it's going to say Remo. The only time that you would consider like what I did, let me get my drums to show them. I had them in front of me, so I wouldn't forget to bring these into the conversation today. So what I did, because I was working at Remo, is I branded it with my logo. So this was 6 months of work. Graphics, logos, pitching of the drum. But this came out of my complaining that I didn't like the Mylar heads on those drums, sound-shaped drums. And I didn't like the colors. I wanted an eco-looking one. And so, of course, if you're going to bitch about it, go fix it. I sell them on my homepage. So I can send out a link to that. They sound great. This is the medium size. There are 3 sizes instead of 6 because I wasn't really using all 6 of those. I use the 3 sizes, tall, venti, and grande. I figured Starbucks is more standardized than anything in the world. So this is kind of like what Grace did. You know, I made a little drum and it comes in a 3-pack and Remo shrink wraps it and sells them to me at wholesale, and I sell them on my website and at my events. So that's the story. That's how I got the logo on them. So I had to get a part number. I mean, you can't imagine the work of this for 6 months. I had to get a part number. I had to get a logo approved and printed. I had to listen to the pitches. That took 6 months alone because they couldn't quite get it right. I had to choose, do I want sparkles or plain? I mean, lots goes into product. Like I keep wanting you guys just to understand, it's a way slower process and way worth it. Because now you've you're branding yourself as an expert. Get your brand on your product. So Grace, I want to see on the top of the crate, I want to see a title for that thing. What's that called? Does it have a name?
Not yet.
Okay, could I just take a quick, as we close today's call, if anybody has an idea for Grace, type it in there. What would she call the 12-pack of shakers with all different funny faces on it? I was going to call it Face the Beat.
I love that.
Emotion rhythms, or just everybody start thinking creatively, because this is a good exercise for all of us to think about what we would call our own products. Like Body Beat was really obvious title for me.
Eggheads. I like eggheads.
Eggheads. Egghead rhythm. Egghead rhythm is because you want to get drum in there, or rhythm. Egghead, and what was the name? Saving Grace, right?
Yeah, so guess I could call them Saving Grace Shakers.
For sure. Yes. I know that company that does logos on shakers. I know a lot of people that are using that, Rebecca. That's great. Excellent shakes. Oh my God, what an idea that is. Excellent. Be excellent. I'm not crazy about Saving Grace shakers.
Okay.
Honestly, it would be like Upbeat Drum Circles Body Beat. No, Body Beat.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I think these are brilliant ideas. Excellent is lovely. All of these ideas.
Yes, I really like that.
Ooh, Shaker's Dozen. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Dozen.
Like a baker's dozen, Shaker's Dozen. All right, so as we close today's call, just put on a piece of, what's it called? Sticky note. Just take a minute on a stick, shake your face off. Oh my God. That's brilliant. That's really brilliant, Cled. This would probably be the best use of our time. Each person should show up with their product and all of us could brainstorm the name for it. That's why I really liked that Scribble one. It's really brilliant. That Scribble, what was it called?
Scribble art.
Scribble art. So great. Yeah. So yeah, this is good. Titling things is really, We can all be your focus group. Exactly. Shaky face. That's fun too.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of fun choosing.
Yes.
What I love is what they could create as an add-on in terms of the PDF. I was seeing this in grief support groups, you know, talking about all the different reactions to grief, shock, tears, you know, anger, rage, all of that could be like a little page with all the shakers pictured on it with all the words of the emotions. There's a lot you can do. And then that's what I did in Body Beat was I created this card of how to play it in variations so that you could think of different ways to play it for different populations, and then metaphors. Like here's how you use it with corporate, here's how you use it with grief support groups, because life is dealing with the cards you're dealt. That's our big take-home metaphor that we use. You know, when we pass them out, shaken bacon eggs. Glenn cannot be stopped. Glenn, I'm going to go with shake your face off. All right, so take a sticky note. Right now, as we close, write down one idea from today's call that you can carry through, that you can make yourself an action step right now. We're going to end our calls this way more often. This is your homework with your accountability partner. And everybody should write down, if you haven't done it yet, send Christine my bio. Christine is gifting you all a bio revision. Take advantage of this. Offer is good till the end of the course. But I'd really like a crack at helping all of you articulate your work in the world. Okay? So just write down one action step. I hope Tish is going to contact some of these wholesale catalogs. That would be my hope. It's up to her. But I hope some of you also thought of ideas. I don't feel like we did enough about how to get it out there and market it and sell it. But I think I did mention, try to think of when it's going to be in the stream of consciousness for that, like the hook around that. So you can even create your own hook, by the way. It could be Scribble Month at the Expressive Arts Therapy Center. Expressive Arts San Diego could be Scribble Month. And it could be like, here's a tip on how to do it. And by the way, here's the book. So we have to always be bridging content, marketing, and selling. But if there's already something out there for art, sell it then. Back to school, that'll really help. And if you've created, like JC's saying, she's created a bunch of videos and information she wants to make sure it gets out there, that's the work. This is the boring back-end work, you guys. This is sitting down, Googling all the parent associations, Googling the school teachers associations. Who else needs this is what you want to be asking. It's the boring stuff, but once you build those pipelines, right? Once you build those pipelines, you keep pumping your stuff to them. Don't give it all away. And multiple platforms. So Felicia's got the 6 tips to rhythmatize my life. I want to hear those one at a time. I could see her videos. Tip number 1. Da 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 da. She speaks it. We watch the video. Now we're waiting for tip number 2. You guys that have 6 tips, I'm a little worried. It's a big number. Typically, the rule of thumb is 3 to 5. Just something to think about. Just take a look at those 6 tips and think about if they could be condensed a little. All right. So let's end with a one-word share. Manage participants. Unmute all. Okay, starting with Brad. One word, what you're taking with you from today. Somebody's got a screaming child. Hold on. Who is by a phone?
That's my phone.
Oh. Who's got a screaming child? Okay, thank you. All right, Brad, one word, what you're taking with you from today.
Not possible one word. I need to think outside the drum.
Oh! Nancy, hello.
Oh, hi.
One word or one thought, what you're taking with you from today.
Sing along.
Okay, Stephen?
Imagination.
Great. Tish?
Keep going.
Yeah. Rebecca?
Get creative.
Which you do so well. Alicia?
Follow through.
Grace?
Keep moving forward.
Glenn. Uh-oh, I see Glenn. Glenn? There he is. He's calling from very far away. We're having trouble hearing you. JC?
Patience and innovation.
Yeah, good. Good words, you guys. All right, thank you so much. And I'm glad all of you that are getting to watch this video could be with us today as we've talked about the 2 keys to success, products and services. Happy drumming. We'll be looking forward to seeing you next month when we learn what name did Grace choose.